to 3 p.m. I don't know what happened with him.
Okay, come with me. I'm going to help you right now, okay?
Miss, how is my husband?
Your husband is going to be okay. He's preparing for surgery. Don't worry about it. I want to let you know when he's done, okay?
Are you sure?
Yes. Be quiet. It's going to be okay, okay?
Hello? Where am I? Hey, who are you?
I'm the anesthesia god, and I'm here to show you how was the world before the anesthesia.
Me?
If you had surgery, you might remember starting to count backwards from 10, 9, 8, and then waking up with the surgery already over before you even got to 5. And it might seem like you were asleep, but you weren't. You were under anesthesia, which is much more complicated. You were unconscious, but you also couldn't move, form memories, or hopefully, feel pain. Without being able to block all those processes at once, many surgeries would be way too traumatic to perform.
Wow, that was terrible.
Yes, it was. Long time ago, dentists used to be barbers, and they didn't have anesthesia either.
No way.
Yes, it was. Before, they used either chloroform and some type of herbs.
Diethyl ether was the first common one. It was best known as a recreational drug until doctors started to realize that people sometimes didn't notice injuries they received under the influence. Today, anesthesiologists often combine regional, inhalational, and intravenous agents to get the right balance for a surgery. Regional anesthesia blocks pain signals from a specific part of the body from getting to the brain. Pain and other messages travel through the nervous system as electrical impulses. Regional anesthetics work by setting up an electrical barricade. They bind to the proteins in neurons' cell membranes that let charged particles in and out and lock out positively charged particles. One compound that does this is cocaine, whose pain-killing effects were discovered by accident when an ophthalmology intern got some on his tongue. It's still occasionally used as an anesthetic, but many of the more common regional anesthetics have a similar chemical structure and work the same way. But for major surgeries where you need to be unconscious, you'll want something that acts on the entire nervous system, including the brain. That's what inhalational anesthetics do. Inhalational anesthesia is usually supplemented with intravenous anesthesia, which was developed in the 1870s. Common intravenous agents include sedatives like propofol, which induce unconsciousness, and opioids like fentanyl, which reduce pain. These general anesthetics also seem to work by affecting electrical signals in the nervous system. Normally, the brain's electrical signals are a chaotic chorus as different parts of the brain communicate with each other. That connectivity keeps you awake and aware. But as someone becomes anesthetized, those signals become calmer and more organized, suggesting that different parts of the brain aren't talking to each other anymore. There's a lot we still don't know about exactly how this happens. Several common anesthetics bind to the GABA-A receptor in the brain's neurons. They hold the gateway open, letting negatively charged particles flow into the cell. Negative charge builds up and acts like a logjam, keeping the neuron from transmitting electrical signals. The nervous system has lots of these gated channels, controlling pathways for movement, memory, and consciousness. Most anesthetics probably act on more than one, and they don't act on just the nervous system. Many anesthetics also affect the heart, lungs, and other vital organs. Just like early anesthetics, which included familiar poisons like hemlock and aconite, modern drugs can have serious side effects. So an anesthesiologist has to mix just the right balance of drugs to create all the features of anesthesia, while carefully monitoring the patient's vital signs and adjusting the drug mixture as needed. Anesthesia is complicated, but figuring out how to use it allowed for the development of new and better surgical techniques. Surgeons could learn how to routinely and safely perform C-sections, reopen blocked arteries, replace damaged livers and kidneys, and many other life-saving operations. And each year, new anesthesia techniques are developed that will ensure more and more patients survive the trauma of surgery.
You have learned a lot of things today, so it's time to wake up.
Renee, his mama's wife?
Yes.
The surgery was successful. Your husband is away, so you can come in and see him, okay?
Oh my God, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, honey, you are going to believe me.
Yeah, why? What's happened?
Thank God the anesthetic were created.
I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. I feel good. I knew that I wouldn't. So good, so good. I got you.
Her mama's wife? The surgery was successful. Your husband is away, so you can come in and see him.
Oh my God, thank you.
Everyone.
So good, I got you. Wow, I feel nice. A sugar and spice.